Mwachoma Bwanji, bana wa Zambia, or my fellow Zambian. I've just heard about what is happening back home. I'm sorry that you were intimidated. I'm sorry that you stood for the truth. I'm sorry that you are trying to speak on behalf of all the youths in the whole country. I'm sorry that your voices are not heard, despite making your efforts to make things work. Zambia is one of the most peaceful countries in Africa, and we need to take advantage of that. But if it comes to violation of the rule of law, then I suggest that you, the youths, and every citizen, including adults, you must stand up and say the way it is, that it is wrong and it has to be fixed. To you, the government, I'm sorry that we voted for you. You are into power. We thought you were different. We thought you were going to bring something different to the table. Unfortunately, you took us steps backwards. We are supposed to be the most richest country in Africa in terms of technology, agriculture, and innovation, scientific research, and everything, because Zambians are the most intelligent species I've ever come across in the whole entire Africa. Zambians, you are very articulative when it comes to giving out advice. Zambian, you are very articulative when you are really educated and you have points. But the fear, the problem that you have is the fear to act. Despite having been told numerous times about the wrong things the people that we chose to represent us are doing, but we choose to keep quiet and say fiala is over, fika is over. What does that mean? And some of you, because you're Christians, you relate to God. You just say lesomwine ewe shire mulimukie naziba. Hello? God help those who help themselves. If you don't pull up your socks and expect God to come and put a shoe on your foot, then I'm sorry. You will not receive this issue, this mentality of expecting a miracle from God to happen. Those are just fairy tales. It doesn't work. It will never happen. Miracles work when you work hard. When you train hard, you win. You build muscles. Those are miracles. It's not the miracle. It's not a catch-22. You just have to work hard. That's all. What the youths are doing should be applauded by every well-meaning citizen of Zambia. That they have the courage to to stand up and speak out, even under the oppressions, under the intimidations and threats. They chose to go ahead. And because of technology today, they utilized technology and reached the masses. I believe the only people that have not heard or have not heard about the youths are maybe those in rural areas where there is no network. Otherwise, they did a wonderful, courageous job that most of you adults today are shy because you are the so-called some of us. This is beyond us. What is beyond you? That's being foolish. There's nothing beyond you when you want to criticize the government that is not doing the right thing. How could you let Honorable Lusambo insult or threaten your children and you are there quiet? You're not saying a word until the kids themselves decide to take it to the street. What kind of adults do we have in Zambia? You are supposed to be the role model to these kids. You're supposed to emulate. They're supposed to follow your footsteps. But this cowardice behavior of scared being fired to speak out should be avoided. Just cut this crap and go back to the drawing board and fix this problem. You are the guys that knows how to even rig the elections. You know how to go about because you've had the systems. You have studied the systems and how it works. But remember this same technology you took advantage of at the time you were a youth, it's now in the hands of these youngsters, and their technology is more advanced than you. You have become an old school. They are the millennials, and they will show us how to operate these gadgets that we have no clue of. So please, let's pave way for these young men and women. Help them out when they are pressed, when they are suffocated by the so-called bullies. They can speak when they see something is wrong. We should not keep them quiet. We should not shut them up. Let them speak. It's their right. It's their fundamental right to speak. When something is wrong, they can say. Your Excellency Edgar Changwa Lungu, we had hopes and the trust that you were going to bring something different to the table. Unfortunately, it's like you politician, you come from the same mother, sucking from the same breast. Your behavior is like you go for training to behave in the same way. I know each and every Zambian wants a piece of a cake. You can't be able to be there for each and everyone, but show us that you are making tangible decisions that are being followed, not decisions that are meant to intimidate or degrade other people's rights and benefit the few. No. There's no one who is more Zambian than the other. Everyone is equal. We should treat each other equal. Lekeni amano ayabu selfish. Selfishness will never take you anywhere. It will just bring you down. We know you have made a little bit of money now. We know that your accounts are now full. Even though they say money is never enough, we know that for the fact. You are giving yourself dividends privately or secretly behind closed doors, and where the majority have no idea what's going on. We see your ministers building very expensive properties that are questionable, and some of your ministers are even arrested, and you are still quiet about it. You are not showing any vigorous action. What is it that you are doing to mitigate this problem of your ministers in your government are using excessive funds to fund their projects, their personal activities? Where do they get the resources? When they were single people not affiliated to any government institution, they were able to see how much what they were doing in society. But the moment they became a member of parliament or appointed eventually as ministers, all of a sudden we see the mushrooming of mansions, very expensive infrastructure being built, not for the government, by the way, but by the government ministers for themselves, for their personal gain. And yet the majority are still wallowing under abject poverty. There's nobody out there. A lot of young men and women on the street that have no shelter. And here is a minister, instead of building even a kamudada one room each, you can afford it. It only cost maybe 20,000 or 15,000. Find a small plot. Use your ministerial position to acquire a piece of land in Lusaka and go on the street, pick up these kids, bring them and say, here is your house. Will you hear anybody speaking negative about you for doing the right thing? But instead of showing us that you are the ministers, you have the people at heart, that you go and take things into your own hands and start building mansions. You are only 3 in your family, yourself and your wife and a kid, maybe 1 or 2. That's it. And you go and build a very huge, humongous mansion that is 7 bedrooms or 10 bedroomed house with 25 toilets. People. And you are only 3. And we look at the fleet of your vehicles outside. You have 7 vehicles. When you have to drive 1 vehicle at a time, what are you trying to prove? What point are you trying to make? Just to show us that you are now rich? You can't even buy a bus for a school. There's so many schools in this town. donate a small minibus. But instead you go and buy a car that costs 200 million. 150,000. Children are walking, most especially in the rural areas. Children walk 25 kilometers or 30 kilometers per day, every day, from Monday to Friday, going to school. You remember a minister, just because not doing Vodela, then you forget about the plight of the people, then you go and start enriching yourself. What is what kind of God do you pray to? Because this God, that's why in there I am so a little bit skeptical about the God we pray to in Zambia. I think we only start to pay from Zambia wabufi. That's what I know. Wabufi pantule saunga wachine imwe bambi mwenga ali mipa yakalenga ola ali mifunya mu Zambia lyenchalo ola ali mipelo ubu disability or something like that. He was gonna do something just to have a curse on you, or he could have just punished you, but he's not there, because if he's there and he sees what you guys are doing, no, he was not going to tolerate you to do such things. Even though he wants to let us to do those things ourselves, to catch you and put you in the right place. But then you are trying to make laws that are going to make it difficult for us to even catch you or prosecute you, all in the name of wanting to hide. Zambians, the taxpayers' money. As a loan, and you want us to pay for it. Meanwhile, we see you driving luxury cars. It's us paying for those luxury cars. It's us paying for those donations you make. To buy people or for their money. Indala mashabo mwaya mukubashitila obunga kuli ba GBM. Now what GBM bashita inflate ka bill. Baleta ka bill, instead of ka 2 million, watch that times 3. Just because bawomba mu government or niba party patriotic. I don't understand mwebena Zambia nishitwa belefikanshi iseni tutemwane abantu beso isentu ikatane chapamo. But if you feel tulanda fe bakano viva voce takwa wana action pakano kwena mwandi twali pasa. If Zambians, if the whole world today was gonna say the most richest country will be those that are very articulative and very talkative, I think Zambia was going to be one of these. It was gonna be top. It was gonna top this chart. Pantu kulanda kwena mwandi nitwalishi okulanda. And the other thing is, we know how to blame. Blaming others, we are so good at that. As if we manage to blame others, we are the perfect ones. We even put ourselves in the positions where we feel more comfortable and be in a position of being advisory and counseling, like, okay, now Mushiva, if you mlechite, if you chivi sana, blah blah blah. Alamwanti. He said, "Duch the protest, ama youth vamita. Let's go and do do the protest, you chicken out, you stay indoors. Bravely are those youths that stood and went and did the right thing. Whether it's in the bush. Next time, Vane, well, in the boat, get the boat, go in the middle of the river, protest just in the middle of the river, or in the boat. Let's see which boat. If they come to you, start your engine and move away from there. They have, most especially in Zambezi River, there are so many ways of catching a monkey or a rat. You can protest anywhere. They cannot stop you from protesting. They can never stop you from protesting. Believe you me. You can protest anywhere. Kamulefwaya mwakwele ndeke. Mulia mwine mundeke mwamba kuchita protest. Live video. Kamulefwaya mwakwela train. Mulia mwine mu train mwamba kuchita live, streaming live, protesting na munina. Mwakwela bus. Mulia mwine mu bus mwamba kuchita streaming live. You're not telling them where you are, but you're just protesting. They will never catch you. And the bush was the best idea too. You can even protest. Go on the top of the mountain as a group, whether you are 6, whether you are 5, whether you are few, it doesn't matter. What matters is the message. We are interested in what you are protesting against. And for sure, we heard you. There's that young lady in black who talked about the deceased. That was very touchy. If anybody never heard or never felt anything when that young lady spoke, oh my God, then you must be numb and dead. Must check yourself out. We heard everything. We heard you. And we stand by you, the youths. Let the government give you answers. Calling you to sit down and have a dialogue without answers, it's bullshit. Let them first of all respond to your questions. How are they going to respond to the question? They want to silence you by issuing you a check of 30 million. How many youths are in Zambia? Are they 30 million? By just mentioning that you'll be given, we have allocated 30 million. This government is full of crap. They mention things, and they mention things that are not in reality. Given Luvinda, Honorable Given Luvinda, mentioned something about the pension, the retirees. Their money was issued, and they were gonna send the money within a week. Almost 500 million. I don't know how much it was. That was almost 2 months or 3 months ago. To date, the pensioners are still struggling. The money has been diverted to other projects. What's happening? Even that 30 million that you claim you have released for the youths, I don't understand. I don't even know how that money is gonna practically reach the intended group. It's just one way of trying to make the youth youths become mute. Let the youths speak. And you listen and respond. Call them for dialogue to respond to their questions. That is how you sort out this mess. Respond to their questions. Call them, sit down with them, and respond. You see, through the youth's cry, the Anti-Corruption Commission decided to go ahead and charge one of your ministers. It's because of the youths. If it wasn't for the youths to have cried foul, you would have not had the audacity to even have gone to arrest that minister that was bailed immediately. That young man, the other young man, the photographer, Chela Tukuta, he was hurting. He is hurting inside. It's so painful to see his own motherland being destroyed by people that hold senior positions in government. So he spoke. Yes, he may have gone a little bit overboard, but it's his opinion. Why should it bother you if it's not true? Why should you even arrest him if it's not the truth? Because if somebody is accusing me when I'm not even that person that has done it, why? Why should I even bother? Why worry? I would stay put and forget about it because it doesn't mean a thing. Because I have no clue what he's talking about. But if you have an idea, and if you know exactly that, oh, this guy is gonna destroy my career, I have to find ways of keeping him quiet, you will employ all these tactics of keeping him quiet, and hence him in police custody today. My message to you, the police officers: we have heard, we know that you are being used, even when you don't have even people that have investigated this matter. Just because you received just one complaint from a so-called minister, you were all over without even having had investigated this matter thoroughly. This is why you are being sued every day, because of your unprofessional conduct. Don't rush. The best thing you could have done was to first of all investigate. Go find out. Call this young man to the police station. Interview him. The reason why you lose most of these cases, Kapokolawa, Muzambia, my officers, is because you act on impulse. Every time you have a situation, instead of being calm and professional, you act on impulse, trying to impress your boss. Someone once told me, because I was so straightforward of doing certain things, I was called Muzungo Anikonde attitude. That I have this kind of attitude where I am doing it for someone to like me. and for white person to like me, for white person. Well, I'm married to one, and she gave me 2 beautiful children. But that's besides the point. The issue I'm saying is my officers, our Zambian police officers that we pay, my father, I respect police. I respect Zambia police. My own father was a police officer. And I remember the respect that my father had. I remember my father would sit down with us and tell us the stories about his works. I remember my father telling us how they managed to capture Mushala. I remember how he struggled, how they was used to train under crossfire. He told us a lot of things. Pano pamene nilili pano ndine mwana wakapokola na ini. But nzeru zamene muchita imwe wakapokola these days vamanje awe mwachilamo. You are failing to act professionally, and that is where the bone of contention is. Why are you failing to investigate matters? You keep people for so long because you have not done your homeworks. You even forget about them in cells. You go and start gallivanting the streets of Lusaka, hunting for more unevidenced cases, and keep on piling unevidenced cases in your offices, cases that are not going anywhere. You have become jacks of all trades, that even now debt collections, you can deal with that as police officers. Defamation of character, you are dealing with it. Personal injuries, tortious liability. Who told you that? What's the work of the court? What's the work of the judiciary? You should dwell on matters that borders on criminal related. Charge individuals with criminal offenses